just dawned on me that's actually. My daughter was 4 years old, and the boy that died was 4 years old. It really affected me.
Sure.
Well, we were buying a house with a swimming pool in the backyard the next week.
It's too much to they can't do it.
I was shaking at her. The rabbi, she fell after the mother left. She fainted. I picked her up and carried her to her car. Very hard for me.
We can buy it right away. That's why we just a little product.
Yeah. Now this is all filled out. And I'm the one about to say, they promised the owner they would never sell off any property. They sold off all 8 acres. 8 acres of building. Sir, just so you know, you're online now. It's okay, but I want you to know you're online. People can see you.
Okay.
You see?
Uh-huh.
A couple seconds, and then you'll start to move in just a couple seconds. So. See, this is on internet now. So this is live now. This is the camera, and when we do the service, it's on Ilya's webpage. So when people touch this, right now there's one device on, not including this guy. So maybe there'll be more. I mean, you can watch it later as well.
about 4 to 6 gentlemen to act as pallbearers if you're willing and able to do so. Please meet me at the back of the hearse. Everyone else, we can meet on the road. We'll all escort the casket to the grave. Thank you. Casket on the first set of rollers.
Family, please come and be seated up front. We also have rows of chairs for other people that might need them. The service is being live streamed on the internet. And if you have a cell phone, please put it in the silent mode, please.
Gather behind the chairs or under the
Your family.
Can you take it back further? Here. The rabbi does not want to be in the chair.
Okay.
You get the rabbi's card?
Yeah.
have more chairs if you'd like to be seated. Service will be conducted by Rabbi Shmuel Notek.
Dear family and friends, we're here to give tribute, and the final tribute, to a man that truly deserves a lot of tribute and a lot of honor. And in order to truly, for the family to remember, I'd like you to focus on his name. His name really, Ilya Meyerovich, really demonstrates all the reasoning for the honor we want to try to give him. Ilya comes from the word Eliyahu, comes from the prophet Eliyahu. It's the prophet that's there every time we have a joyous moment. Ilya was all about joy. Ilya was somebody who will let us know of the final redemption. That's exactly who your father, your husband, grandfather was a man of joy, a man of a good heart, a man that cared, a man that was sincere, a man that was straight and kind. It's not in vain that we're here to give him the last tribute right before the Shabbat. But the Shabbat symbolizes peace, harmony, love, spirit, holiness, and translate this in one word, Ilya. Ilya. So if you want to really focus, remember, try to remember my word, his name, and the day was sanctified. Family and friends, I'd like to say, I'd like to share their feelings. I'd like to give you this opportunity. Please feel free to speak at any language that is comfortable for you. I will make my final remarks after everyone that would like to will have a chance, and I'll do that at the request of the family in the Russian language. Family, I'd like to say, please come up. Stay closer to the mic, please.
Can you hear me? Okay. So, my father was not a man of many words, but he always made everybody laugh. That being said, he was a notorious joke killer. He would always ask you if you had heard a joke by telling you the punchline first, and then when you said, no, I hadn't heard that, he would then attempt to tell you the joke from the beginning. And it was so funny to hear him attempt to make it funny after he had already told the punchline that you couldn't help but laugh. And I don't even ever know if he knew that we were laughing at him trying to retell this joke or just because the joke itself was funny. He was a lover of music. He sang, he played the drums. He was my first and favorite dance partner. And when he became too sick to dance, it broke my heart. He loved fishing. He would wake up super, super early when we would travel to Florida, and he would watch the sunrise and fish right in the ocean. I think that was his happy place. My dad was also a tinkerer. He could fix anything. I once got into a car accident where the car was totaled. He bought it back and tied it to a tree and fixed it anyways. And that car ran for a couple more years after that. He loved his grandkids. He would always call and ask how they're doing and laugh at the funny things that they would do. I think one of my favorite memories of my dad, I was probably about Sabrina's age, 5 or 6, and he used to come home and put a whole bunch of leftovers together in one bowl and warm it up, and I would eat with him. And by eat with him, I would literally sit on his lap with a giant spoon and dig into his plate. But he always loved it, and he would always make enough for all of us to eat together. I'm very glad that he's no longer in pain and suffering, because the last few years it's been very rough, but I'm glad he's not suffering, and I'm hoping he's in a better place at this point.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm his son. I have a unique perspective on this man. I was his only son. And what was it like growing up with Pop? He was generous. I remember at an early age, he would bring home Italian beef sandwiches when he'd come home from work for me. I'd go to poker games with him, and he'd let me take the whole big pile of quarters that was behind. And he spent time with his son. He would shoot hoops in our driveway together. He taught me all my ping pong skills. He'd go to the flea market together every weekend. He took me to the movies. And of course, he was a musician, like my sister said. I got to watch him play drums and be in a band. He would sing in Russian restaurants, and he loved his Russian cassette tapes. When I was 5, we drove to Florida and went to Disneyland. My dad took me on Magic Mountain, and I have never seen my dad pale white before. I don't think he ever went on another roller coaster after that. And most of all, I grew up fishing with my pop and my grandfather Sam. My love of all things outdoor had to start with my fishing trips with my dad. There was real quality time spent together when you're fishing. There's nothing but time and talk. Skills are passed down, teamwork is developed, and fishing builds a sense of team with the anglers around you. Nothing made my pop happier than bringing home a cooler full of fish for my family to eat. What did I love about my dad? He was generous, he was easygoing, he was a good time at parties, he was hardworking, he was extremely good with his hands, he was intelligent, he was helpful to anyone who needed his mechanical abilities. More than anything, he was funny. I got my sense of humor from my pop. I didn't really understand most of his Russian anecdotes, but his American jokes were great. He would hear jokes at work and come home to tell them around the dinner table. It was something I always looked forward to. This is how I'll remember him, enjoying a good laugh with his family and friends, enjoying some good Russian music, and feeling good after a couple of shots of vodka.
So, hi, it sounds like I'm going to repeat a lot of the things I just heard.
Right.
But in essence, how do you sum up 71 years of a man's life and almost 50 years of a successful marriage to Raisa, the love of his life? The first thoughts that came to my mind was how kind and helpful he always was. A consistent theme here, right? What a kind soul. In the 35 plus years of knowing him, by the way, I have the good fortune of being married to Rachel, who's sitting right there. So that's how I fit in. I'm Uncle Eddie. I'm the Amerikanski. I never saw him angry or blow up at anyone. What a good-natured guy. He went about his business, never complaining, and grateful for his many riches. His partner of almost 50 years raised his kids, Alex and Diana, were the joys of his life. Then came the expanded family of Nicole, the other Alex, and his grandkids, Sammy, Bella, and Sabrina, each one a blessing. Ilya found happiness in fishing, as was already mentioned. I went with him on occasion. Believe me, he took it seriously. I was forbidden to talk on the boat, as not to scare the fish away. So on a sunny day, it's hot, exposed to the sun, you can't talk for 8 hours. He also loved tools, any tools. He never met a tool he didn't devise some current or future use for. But only if he got a good deal at a flea market or a garage sale. He had every tool you can imagine, and some you would never imagine. If you needed an industrial drill, he had one. A snowblower or two, he's got at least that. You need a wrench set or a screwdriver, he had at least one set, probably someplace in the garage. Ilya took joy in eating a good meal and watching his favorite shows. I remember him trying to explain a Russian TV show and many of his Russian jokes to me. Again, common theme, I didn't get them. Many of you may not know this, but Ilya was a good baritone singer and a drummer. There isn't much this talented guy couldn't do. I will always remember his kindness that he showed to me and Rachel. When they left the Ukraine in earlier years, they took Rachel with them. It couldn't have been easy living with 3 wives, Rosa, Raisa, and Rachel. But without the acts of kindness, my life and my kids' lives would be very different. One man's kindness changed generations of life. That's true impact. Helpful, he could fix or build anything, from car brakes to building a deck out in the back of his house. We worked together for a very short time when he was fixing all the computers in the business I was at. He was very smart like that. When I first got married and didn't know how to do the things a homeowner needs to know, Ilya was always my first call, and he could always find a way to help me, always. He was very helpful to me in other ways too. Coming into the family as an Amerikansky, I guess I never learned how to properly drink cognac and or vodka, where he excelled. I had it on one page, but I made the font larger, so I didn't need glasses. And I tried to be an enthusiastic student. Who knew that pickles were the key? I think back on a day Ilya was conducting a class at his kitchen table with Alex and I. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
With Alex and I remember at least 2 bottles that afternoon. My wife Rachel had to pick me up. Ilya was my own personal Google before Google existed. I could ask him a question about a new camera that just came out, a full 2-megapixel camera. Impressive in the day. He had researched them all and told me what to buy. As it says in the Torah, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Throughout his life, Ilya lived those words like few others have. In the end, my Rachel and I were talking to Asa the other day about the hearse that would take him to his final resting place today. A choice had to be made between the Cadillac and that beautiful Rolls Royce that you saw. A classy ride for a class act. He would have loved that. He had a life lived well. Rest in peace, my friend.
Thank you. Family, children, grandchildren, beloved Raisa. I would like if we all can think for a moment. This is the physical end, not the spiritual. Your grandfather, your father, your husband, your friend, your father-in-law, he continues to live. He continues to live a life that we are not able to see it with our eyes or touch it with our hands. But life continues. And the connection continues. You can and perhaps should try to make that connection. But not physically, but spiritually. Meaning to say, if you do a mitzvah in his memory, like the women in his life, like the Shabbos candles in the right time, 20 minutes before sunset, or any other mitzvah, whether it's the or Shabbat, or a prayer, or going out and helping another person, or being kind to your family, and you think about Eliyahu ben David, you made his spiritual life, you enriched it, you gave meaning to it. And when he stands before God, he says, he lived a life full of meaning. He left behind him a wealth of good people, people that remember him and do mitzvahs in his memory. Родные, хочу обратиться к вам. Сегодня, к сожалению, мы с вами прощаемся с вашим любимым мужем, отцом, дедушкой, другом. Все только что слышали замечательные моменты, есть о чем очень много вы вспомнить, пережить, посмеяться и уйти с хорошим настроением. Физически, к сожалению, вашего отца, вашего мужа, вашего дедушки его нет. Но духовно, душа его продолжает жить в вечном, бесконечном мире. Когда все мы делаем митцвы, добрые дела в его память, то он живет в двух измерениях, а живет в бесконечном, вечном мире. Он живет в этом мире, потому что вы делаете митцвы и добрые дела в его память. Как принято в еврейское общение, мы хотим в этот момент просить прощения. Просить прощения, если мы не сумели вам, Илья, Ильяху бен Давид, отдать ту честь, которую вы заслужили при жизни и после жизни, что вы нам всем простили. Мы молимся за вас, за ваш вечный покой на том свете. Family, friends, this is a time where we sing to Ilya goodbye. This is a time when we part. This is a time when we ask for forgiveness. We haven't given the proper honor during his lifetime, and after, we're asking to please forgive us. Also praying for his peace of his soul. Friends, we choose to believe in what the Torah tells us, that there's a part in our body that doesn't dissolve. It's in the back of our hand, and that's where the tefillin are being laid on. And with the coming of Mashiach, that body will resurrect. Everyone that passed will come back to life, will come back on Mount Olives, on Har HaZeisim, and in memory of our belief, we pour some of that earth as we are doing the burial. everyone beside the children and the children-in-law had come over and put 2 shovels of earth beside the children and grandchildren. Make sure that you don't pass the shovel, you throw it back into the grass. Please come from both sides.
Families will come up first.
Not besides children
Besides,
and grandchildren.
you're going to be participating in the mitzvah. As you come forward, please be mindful of your steps. The ground is very uneven. After you have participated, please place the shovel back into the earth. Please do not pass the shovel from one to another. Then return to where you were standing. Thank you. The 2 shovels will form 2 lines. Be careful of your footing.
Are we allowed to tell them?
All right.
It's too much sun.
Why?
Thank you for coming. Thank you for asking. Slogan.
Again?
Folks, there are 2 shovels if you want to come to this side.
Прямо тут. Потому что там пришел, я тебе сейчас покажу. Помнишь?
Kaddish that Alex will be saying. So please bear with us. Any prayer that you hear me saying out loud, please repeat that with me. And I mean, you besides Alex should repeat. Alex does not repeat, Alex only reads what's in here. Here's the text. So you might as well see it while I'm reciting, so you can just pay attention, get comfortable with it. Lamnatzeach livnekeh mizmeh shimozis hazinu shimozis kolam hazinu kol shechol gam nodem gam negish yachadosh ve'avim piyada b'chochmes vogos libetz v'neis atala moshel ozni efta v'chine chidosi lo me'yora b'mera v'nakeh v'yisubeini הבית חמלכם מבריב עושם יזהלולו אך לפדה יבדה איש לאיתן אלוהים כופרים ויקר פדיה נפשם וחוד עלינו וכי עד לנצח לירא השוחס כי ירא חכמים ימוסו יחד כסיל ובר ימי דבוזו לאחריהם חילום כי בבתים עלינו משכניסם עדי ודגר ושמיסם עלי אדומייס אדם ביקר בל יולין נמשקה בהם הסנידמו זה דרכם כסר למבחם בפיהם ירצו סלום Katzein lish el shatam ovisiram v'yadavar misham labeka b'tzol mevala shel mizvuleim. Ach lehim yivdanav shemiyat shel ki kachin yisala al tira ki yasher yishki b'kveit beisein. Kili v'meisi kacha kelir dachav kveidek. Nav shebachai v'vach v'docha kasetiv loch. Tov ader avis vad netzach le'yiro eir adam bika v'liyavim. Nimshok abheimeis nidmum. Just switch with me.
Yitkadal Vayet Kadash Shemai Rabad Be'alma Dibrash Charatuel Veyam Lich Malchautu Bechayeshan Veyam Chayan Chayan Deshchal Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Vazehman Kariv V'Imaru Amen.
Amen.
Yechai Shemai Rabab Mevarach Lav Alam Yilelave Almaya Yitbarach Vashish Yabach Yet Pa'or V'Yit Ramam V'Yit Mashay V'Yit Haratar V'Yit Alei V'Yit Halal Shemai Dukudesha V'Yit
Amen.
Amen.
Lamein Kol Birachalta V'Shirata Tushbachata Vanata Matada Amiran Ba'alma V'Imeru Amen. Yehesh Shalama Min Shemaya V'Chavim Alainu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'imaru Amen.
Amen.
Asher Shalom V'imaru Uya Asher Shalom Ayad Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'imaru Amen.
Amen. I'm going to ask everyone besides the children and Raisa, the widow, to please line up on the road, on one side men and on the opposite women, and the mourners will pass by us and we will say words of comfort and condolences to them. So again, everyone please, men and women besides the immediate family, the children and the widow, please line up on the road, including the grandchildren. Please line up on the road, including the son-in-law and daughter-in-law, besides the children that remain here, and Raisa, everyone else, please line up on the road. Вы пойдете за мной. Я стану с ними, вы пойдете за мной.